Not sure how well you guys can see me. You probably can see me pretty good. I'm on my back deck. It's bright out here. A little bit of breeze. A little bit of a beautiful breeze today. A nice and blue sky. So I figured I'd come to you from my back deck. Yesterday, the interview fell through. Just so you folks know, I posted it on Facebook, but probably a lot of you don't even go on Facebook. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. That's okay though. Still looking, still searching. God will find something for me, and I'm not too worried about it. And I'm leaving it in God's hands. My wife is worried. My son may be worried a bit, but Lord willing, something will come through for us. Okay, today I wanted to read something out of here. It's called Indescribable Gratuity. Having learned that our expectation is not on this earth, but reserved for us in the heavens, our greatest delight and desire should be to become acquainted with that which is above. These blessings are not just in the future. Even now, in spirit, we have the privilege of enjoying them. Men spend their lives searching the things of this earth, but we have access into realms which man cannot perceive, for their glory is too bright for mortal gaze. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 16. Yet we, in spirit, may be perceiving these things. Even if we spend every moment of our lives searching out their depths, we would only have begun to perceive the grandeur of it all. The more we search the depths of God, the more we are overwhelmed at His greatness. The more we realize how true it is, that, as someone has stated, that it is impossible to exaggerate His glories or boast too much about Him. First of all, we might ask, how does it happen that we have been given a place among the celestials? In Ephesians 1, we read that, in Him our lot was cast, being designated beforehand. And in Numbers 26:56, we read that about the lot being cast when the land of Canaan was divided among the tribes of Israel. The stones were put into a bag, and out came God's choice. Thus we have pictured for us in Ephesians that before the eons, God cast the lot, and out came His choice, those in Christ Jesus. So picture a lottery, but it's the divine lottery of the universe. God casts the lots before we were ever born, and we were chosen. We won the grand lottery, the divine lottery of God, and we were chosen in Christ before the disruption, before the eons began. Yes, before the world was, before man came into being, before sin entered, God chose those in Christ Jesus. We note that this lot did not come to us because we were born into a certain family who are believers. It did not come by generation, as was true of the children of Israel. Should a child be born into one of their families, that child would happen upon the inheritance of his parents. But our lot came by God's choice of those who were he designated to be in Christ Jesus even before we were created. And not only did He choose us, but He planned all that was to be for our glory. In 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 7, He planned that we should be conformed to the image of His Son. What a perfecting display of Himself and of us, to give us the place of a son. What a thought, a son of God. That's what we are, a son of God. We were chosen to be sons of God. All this was to be graciously granted to us. When God made His plan for us, He had no qualifications or requirements to be met with. There were no ifs. As I said yesterday, I talked about the word if. There were no ifs to be complied with, as was true of Israel. But the promise was made in Christ Jesus. That was in the past, but now through the evangel of His grace, we have in spirit the assurance of God's plan for us. What do we find? We find ourselves a new creation, standing before God in Christ, without a spot to spoil our garments of light, and not a wrinkle to mar the perfection of our ways. As if God's love had not stretched down deep enough when He gave up His Son for us. We find every spiritual blessing among the celestials lavished upon us. with not a thing withheld. God poured out everything his heart could conceive of for our delight. Men have spent their lives getting a few material blessings, yet here we find ourselves with no effort on our part becoming the richest creatures in the universe. Not only were there no requirements to be met, but neither do we have to beg for these blessings, for they are the outflow of God's vast love. Oh, how it draws the heart with a power beyond description. The heart cannot be silent when it enters into such transcendent realms. But the greatest thing is to perceive why we were chosen. For it is not just to see that we have been made recipients of such great love, but that we are to be displayed to the whole universe so that they, too, may know the greatness of our God. Mankind does not know him, but how surprised they will be when they realize him as he truly is, when they perceive the magnificence of God. They too will know him, for God's heart cannot be satisfied with just a few of his creatures. His consuming love must draw them all. No wonder Paul could not find grand enough words to use when he was writing these things. David exulted day and night because of what he knew. But how much greater are the things that God in his grace has made known to us. What a contrast to our calling from Israel's expectation in the future. Glorious that will be. In Isaiah 62 we read that they are to be a praise to all the earth, a royal crown of beauty in the hand of God. But as grand as Israel's expectation is, it cannot be compared with what God has reserved for us. In that day we find the universe standing in awe of us. We are a new creation, conformed to the image of God's Son, truly members of a royal family. For our Father is the King of the eons. Can we enter into such thoughts, as wonderful as it is? It cannot be appreciated without the realization of our own unworthiness to receive it all. For the depths to which he went to get us only accentuates the heights to which he has taken us. That God should even be mindful of man is a condescension far beyond our apprehension. Yet the depths of God's love must be displayed, not to good men, but to sinners and enemies it must be shown. This is the kind of people God has saved and showered with the richest gifts his heart could conceive. Okay, so that was that little article there. I still have a problem reading sometimes because the words are so small here. My eyes aren't the best, and so I stumble over the words. But that's okay. Some of these writings in the Unsearchable Riches are not in big text. Okay, so with that, I will say happy Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. I forget every day what day it is. But anyway, I'll say happy Wednesday, folks. And I'm going to light a cigar here. I am so happy to be alive. I am so happy to have God's grace. I am so happy to be able to display it and illuminate his light. And with that light, we are to illuminate God's light to the world, to the rest. He has chosen us. He has given us a high calling. He has chosen us well before the eons began. And remember that today. Enjoy your day in the Lord, and we will see you tomorrow, folks.